Okay, I just told you some really bad stuff about the cholesterol pills. Now I bet you're ready for some good news. Well, the good news is that more and more physicians are recognizing that these pills are dangerous and can recognize the symptoms and will be willing to talk with you about a healthy diet that will help reduce your risk of heart attack naturally. There's more people who are recognizing that a low-carb traditional or paleo diet can help your health. And there's two big reasons for that. The first reason is that the fats in these traditional diets are less prone to oxidation, so they are not going to destabilize your lipoproteins and cause atherosclerosis and heart attacks. And the second big reason is that they are low carb, so they're not going to be triggering the insulin release, which is the main driver of weight gain and LDL cholesterol elevation. I'm going to elaborate on both of those points here by explaining how the process of fat digestion works so that you can understand that it's really ridiculous to say something like butter clogs your arteries, you know, because it's a solid fat and it's just going to sit in your arteries. The body doesn't work anything like that. So let's take a look and see what really happens. So let's say you just had a meal and now the food that you ate is in your intestine. It's all becoming emulsified. In order to get into your body, it has to pass through the intestinal cell wall, and it does that in its emulsified state. Then what happens is the dietary fat and cholesterol get inside the intestinal cell and have to be packaged together in this special packaging because the body has to solve this problem of how to distribute fat in the bloodstream, which is mostly water, and fat and water don't mix. Well, the ingenious solution it came up with is to package the fat inside something that does dissolve in water, and that is phospholipid and protein. So the fat that you ate gets packaged in a special thing that we call a lipoprotein, because lipid is for the stuff in the middle and protein is the stuff on the surface. And so before the butter or saturated fat gets into your bloodstream, it is completely encased in this particle, and so it cannot cause buildup of plaque. What can cause buildup of plaque is if something were to happen to destabilize this lipoprotein, then the fat could get released and cause problems. So that's what I want to show you. To understand how this happens, let's take a close look at the lipoprotein. This is a generic lipoprotein particle. So lipoprotein, the L in lipoprotein, you've heard of before if you've heard of LDL cholesterol. That stands for low density lipoprotein. HDL cholesterol is high density lipoprotein. All the particles of fat have different densities and different sizes, so I'm just going to go over like a generic lipoprotein. They're all structured the same way with a lipid core. This is a fat that you ate, including if you have a healthy diet, it's going to be the fat-soluble antioxidants, lots of good brain-building phospholipids and lecithin and choline. And the surface is this complex biochemistry that enables your body to recognize that this lipoprotein is a particle of nutrient, and it enables the body to deliver these little packages into the cells. There's all kinds of enzymes that have to be activated to do that. Unfortunately, oxidation damages the lipoprotein, and so how do you get oxidation in your lipoproteins? Well, you have oxidized fats. So these are the polyunsaturated fats, the corn, canola, sunflower, soy oil, cottonseed oil. All of these fats are going to be prone to oxidation just because of their chemical structure. And so when they come in contact with iron and oxygen in your blood, they are very likely to react in a way that will destabilize the lipoprotein, as I'm about to show you. So the oxidation reaction will destroy the surface of the lipoprotein, destroy the enzymatic and docking proteins, and also will destroy the lipid inside the lipoprotein as well, so that what's in here now is no longer a nutrient. It is toxic fat. The body has no use for it anymore. And because of that, it's rejected by the cells. The cells just simply don't recognize it. And the lipoprotein particles can't stay suspended in circulation. Their coat has been damaged. So what happens is they precipitate out of circulation, and it's like a paintball splatting on a tree. They splat all over the inner lining of your arterial wall. And over time, these splatters build up and you get a layer of fat. And we can actually see this on ultrasound. It's called a fatty streak. It's the very beginning of arteriosclerosis. And as your body notices that these fats are here, because the fats are toxic, it wisely tries to do something about it. And so this is a little white blood cell that was detected the inflammation caused by the irritating fats. And it's trying to clean up, it's trying to do its job, clean up all that nasty fat. So it came through the arterial wall from this is from the inside, and this is still in the bloodstream. It's trying to clean it up, but it does so by eating it. And since the fats are so toxic, unfortunately, the job doesn't always go as planned, and the fats can actually kill the white blood cells, which makes the problem worse because the dying white blood cell releases enzymes that degrade the structure, the collagen supporting the cell, supporting the arterial wall, and attract more white blood cells to cause more, of the same, in an attempt to try and clean it up. But when the fats are this toxic, it just doesn't always go as it is supposed to go. And so what I have here, these little matches are symbolic for oxygen, because just a little bit of a spark of a reaction between oxygen and iron in the bloodstream can set up yet another chain of reactions in the deposited fat that can actually just totally destabilize the plaque and go from an unstable plaque to a rupture in the artery and a tear, and now a blood clot that actually blocks the flow of blood through the artery and causes a heart attack or a stroke. So I just want to show you how that goes again, because it's essential to understand that it's not fat buildups that cause heart attacks. It's blood clots that are a result of a weakened arterial wall that is a result of oxidized fat, not dietary cholesterol. It's not this slow, gradual buildup of fat in the bloodstream as if our bodies are made out of plumbing and just the pouring grease down into a pipe. It just slowly builds up over time. It's nothing like that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that the main driver for LDL elevation and for weight gain is carbohydrate intake and how that happens. So you have a bunch of oatmeal for breakfast. The oatmeal is a starch. The starch gets digested by the digestive system, broken down into sugar, goes into your bloodstream as sugar, elevates your blood sugar. That elevated blood sugar is a trigger for insulin to be released. And the insulin tells your liver, okay, there's a bunch of sugar coming your way. Sugar can't be stored as sugar for very much. We can store only a tiny little bit of sugar, but we have an almost infinite fat storage capacity. So the liver gets busy getting ready to convert the sugar into fat. Now it's going to store that fat not in the liver, it's going to store that fat in the subcutaneous area, the subcutaneous fat on your thighs or anywhere in your body. But it is the carb intake that triggers the insulin release, and insulin is a hormone that turns on the enzymes that manufacture LDL. So insulin is actually one of the strongest drivers of LDL elevation, and when I see somebody whose LDL is up above about 140, I know they have a lot of carb in their diet, and not only are they going to have a little higher risk for heart disease because of that carb, they're also going to have a hard time losing weight because their body, their liver, everything is geared up for storing fat, not burning fat. So the key point here, though, is that cutting your dietary fat has very little effect on your LDL levels, and what has a big effect is cutting your dietary carbohydrate. So the bottom line is we now can go ahead and feel good about having eggs in your diet. You can have butter, you can have bacon. All these natural fats are naturally resistant to this reaction between oxygen and iron in the bloodstream that destabilizes the lipoprotein. They are resistant because of their chemical structure, and they also contain a lot of antioxidants because they are in their natural state. They have not been processed. The vegetable oils are going to be the big problems that are going to be causing those fatty streaks, and the worst offenders are going to be the vegetable oils that have been heated over and over again, like for example in restaurant fast food chains. There are several resources for you if you want to find doctors who are the most qualified to have these kinds of conversation with you. You can go to Jimmy Moore's list of low-carb doctors at lowcarbdoctors.blogspot.com. He lists them by state on the side here. and the Paleo Physicians Network at paleophysiciansnetwork.com, all one word. And again, they are listed by state. So thank you very much, and I hope this information has been helpful.